The HexArmor Safety 101 series provides straightforward education on industrial safety standards and testing methods, so you can make an informed decision when it comes to choosing hand and body PPE. At HexArmor, worker safety is always our #1 priority, and this includes puncture protection. Now, we realize that puncture protection can be fairly confusing, so we like to group them into two categories: needle protection and industrial puncture protection. Today we're going to focus on industrial puncture protection. Now, we know that the tests available are pretty confusing, and they don't always represent the real-world applications and situations that you or your employees come into contact with. So we're going to help you understand the differences between the tests and also give you some guides to select the right PPE for you or your crew. There are currently two main tests used for puncture resistance in PPE, the EN388 and the ASTM 1342. In both the EN388 and ASTM 1342, the probes are slowly pushed into the fabric sample under various amounts of pressure. The heavier the weight needed to puncture the fabric, the higher the puncture rating. The probes used in both of these tests are the variable in question. For the EN388, the test probe is more blunt and round, similar to the shape of a ballpoint pen. The ASTM 1342 probe is thinner and more pointed than the EN388 probe. Neither of these probes come close to replicating typical workplace puncture hazards like splinters, frayed wires, or metal burrs. And as we know in the field, workers are moving fast, and a sliver or a metal burr could jab into a worker's hand at any angle and at any speed. Now, let's address some common misconceptions with puncture testing. Just because a glove rates a puncture 4 on the EN388 does not necessarily mean they have great industrial puncture protection. So now take, for example, palm-coated gloves with latex wrinkle rubber dip. They will perform well on the EN388 or ASTM 1342 because the elastic nature of the coating will actually arrest the larger flat probes used in lab testing. Yet a typical industrial hazard, like a metal sliver or a sharp burr, will easily puncture these gloves. So as a result of these comparisons, you need to make sure that you look beyond the puncture score to understand true industrial puncture protection when selecting the proper hand protection for your employees. For example, HexArmor arm guards have been used daily for years by large North American lumber yards to effectively stop plywood splinters. Yet, if you look at the puncture score of our arm guards, you might assume differently. The difference is HexArmor's protective tile technology, which arrests and deflect the puncture hazard before it ever reaches the base fabric of the arm guard. Similarly, HexArmor steel leather 3 gloves are used to stop frayed wire very effectively every day. And our 9000 series 9015 is also proven to stop metal, wood, and wire puncture hazards in real-world applications. The gloves are also very comfortable to wear because they contain few layers of fabric to achieve this proven puncture protection. The EN388 puncture test rating of 2 better describes the tensile or burst strength of the underlying fabric, not the ability of the protective tiles to deflect from a puncture hazard. HexArmor offers many different tile configurations on our fabric to defend against different hazards, from sharp wire pokes to larger industrial puncture hazards. We recommend consulting with a HexArmor representative and field testing to find the right puncture protection for your application. If you have any questions about puncture testing, puncture-resistant glove performance, or any other safety issue, please contact your local HexArmor sales representative today. Thanks and have a safe day.